Tasanka, what are you doing? What's he doing, Sue? Are you all better now? You crazy mutt. Matcha! Matcha! Whoa, there you are. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh boy, she loves the snow. Everything about it. Tasanka loves it too, but not in the same way that Matcha does. But then again, Matcha's still a puppy. Matcha, home. Matcha, home. Tasanka, home. Good job. There you go. Honestly, that is exactly what we want from our dogs. We want them out running around, doing their thing. When it's time to come home, they come home. All right, Mr. Whitco. Now it's your turn. It is real difficult for Whitco, although it doesn't look like it. But it is really difficult for him to be on a leash. He spends most of his days all over the property, just checking on things and making sure there's nothing wacky going on. But yeah, with him being on leash duty, we can't really let him out for too long. Can't let him running around. Kind of sucks, but you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And with him being injured, we need him back 100%, but it's going to take time. So for now, we'll just walk around, do our rounds, and whoop, there he goes. That's exactly why we have him on a leash, because we don't want him doing that. We got to make sure that it stays dry so it can heal. All right, so now that Whitco's had some time to run around, we're going to get him back in the house, get his cone back on. Then we're going to go take a look at some firewood. So why are we talking about firewood again? Well, the truth be told, we need firewood in our shed outside. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the shed that we keep our firewood in for the cabin to heat with. And as you can see, we are down to the last row. Normally there are 3 rows in here filled. But we've been using it, and you know, we need to go get some more now. Before I can start filling this up though, I do have some wood in here that I simply split just way too big. It's not that they won't fit into our stoves, it's that I don't want to put them in our stoves that big. So what I'm going to do is take some of these, we're going to take them out of here, we're going to get them in the dory, take it over to the splitter. We're going to split these things in half, and then we'll put them back in here. Now, there are some stoves that you can throw these sizes in. It'd be no problem. And like I said, I mean, we could probably stick them in ours. But this is a lot of wood, and we just don't like doing that. That said, I got to do a better job splitting. So I'm not doing this twice. So over the course of the last several months of having wood in here, bringing it in and out, you know, dry wood loses its bark. And so we've got a ton of bark and just wood shavings and wood chips in here. So since I'm going in here and getting this thing cleaned up with all the big wood to take it over to the wood splitter, I figured might as well go ahead and burn all of this stuff because we're not going to use it. Besides, on the next load of wood I bring in, we'll probably have just as much of this stuff if we do need anything for kindling. So we're going to go ahead and let that fire run for a little while before we get out of here. I want to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. I mean, it shouldn't, but, you know, being from the city, I look at risk a little differently. And for someone who may have grown up in the woods or have been in the woods for a long time, they may know things that I don't. I have to learn them. I have to learn about fires, you know, about how they behave and everything about it, of whether or not I can, you know, feel safe walking away from it, if I have to stay for it, you know, all of this stuff, everything about them. So we're going to stay here for a minute, but I did want to show you something. So if you're new to the channel, or if you've been watching us for a little while and don't know this, this shed did not start out as a wood shed. We actually originally had our water tank in here, and this is where we would store water in a 275 gallon tote in here, and we would fill it from our well, and we had a little 12-volt pump in here. We had our hot water, instant hot water heater in here, and we also heated this as best we could. That first winter was brutal, to say the least. We constantly had frozen pipes. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. But it is kind of neat that we were able to use this building as a wood shed instead of having to just tear it down or move it or whatever. So it's kind of cool. That was the hole that our water pipes went through. And it went into the cabin through a hole. Whoop. That's now covered up right there. And we even had a garden hose spigot on the outside, which is actually still here. I never took it down. Things change on the homestead. They're constantly changing. I have a plan, for instance, having this water tank shed, yeah, it became our wood shed. Because again, you know, things change and you just kind of got to roll with it and adapt to whatever, you know, whatever the lifestyle is throwing at you. So, all right, so I think that fire is good. We're going to go ahead and jump in Dory and we're going to head over to the woodshed. But before I do that, look at this view. I love the Maine woods. There's just something majestic about being out here. All right, let's go head over to the woodshed now. All right, so we are over by the wood splitter. The reason we want to split this stuff is simply because we don't use this size wood except for at night. Like I said earlier, we don't mind putting big wood in, and we actually want to put big pieces in when we go to bed at night because that'll simmer all night long. The problem is that we don't need it to simmer. We don't need them every single night. And so what we've learned is that you need to have a nice mixture of big logs, medium logs and smaller logs, all for the purpose of heating the house. But with the ones that I've got here, we just have too many of them. And so we'll go ahead and get this split up. We're going to put them back into Dory. We're going to get some more wood, and we're going to start filling up that woodshed over there. There's a major learning curve with us, and we're still learning about how to utilize wood, to the best of our ability to heat our cabin. When we came out here, we had this misconception that you just throw firewood in there and then it'll heat the cabin. Well, that is really not the case. I mean, the principle is right, but there is a little bit of skill to keeping the cabin relatively warm and at a steady temperature. And that is where Jen and I are starting to learn how to do that and realizing what wood works and what wood doesn't work. And what I mean by that is by the size of it. So let's get the splitting, and then let's get the filling. So another thing that we find with cutting our own firewood is that sometimes we cut them too long, kind of like these. And we do have to get these cut down. So I'm going to get the chainsaw out, and we're going to cut a few inches off of each one. It's kind of a shame, but it happens. And then once we've got those cut, some of them will split. The rest of them we'll throw in Dory and keep going. Okay, so now that we are done with the splitter, now it's time to fill up Dory. Let's go fill up the woodshed next to the cabin. Well, that took a lot longer than I thought it would. It's about 5 o'clock and it is cold and I am tired and I am hungry, so I'm calling it a night. Gonna go in and have some tacos, and then we're gonna get back at this tomorrow.